A big development in the sports world. NCAA athletes will now be able to cash in on their fame. They can be paid for their names, images, and likenesses. Joining us now is host of Wi-Fi AM, Dan Roberts. Student athletes getting paid. How is this going to work?
Big former student athlete right here.
Oh, we could have sponsored him.
That's right. There you go.
Got our
UConn track.
Taken his likeness, put it on the big PS4 track.
Right. Now let's make sure first we give a caveat here. Headlines and everyone is widely reporting this will happen. I do think all signs point to yes that this will happen. But for now, the news is that the NCAA Board of Governors has voted to recommend to all three of its divisions, D1, D2, D3, that they make these changes. Now, that means there's still room for disagreement. There might be room for court battles, so we will see. But it sure looks like all signs pointing to yes. And what sparked this, we know, was a month ago when California basically did this. So SB 206, which is the Fair Pay to Play bill, was signed by California Governor Gavin Newsom, and that was going to allow just college athletes in the state of California to be paid for endorsement deals. And I think what the NCAA realized was, well, wait a minute, we don't want this to just be in one state. Let's just go nationwide with this. And the speed at which this has moved was really fast. So now with all that kind of preamble being said, what does this actually mean? So you still cannot be paid for your performance, for your play. That cannot happen under the NCAA's amateur rules. That would kind of ruin everything. What this will allow is for individual athletes to get and sign a paid endorsement deal. So if a Zion, while still in college, wants to sign with Nike, that would be allowed. If a Myles Udland wants to do an ad for the local Connecticut car dealership, that would be allowed. But you might be thinking already, and I think this is what a lot of people are working through very quickly, this is going to get very, very complicated at the beginning. It is going to be far from simple. You know, at our Yahoo Finance Live Summit a couple months back, we had George Pine, who is the former COO of NASCAR, talking about this, basically saying, well, how does this affect recruiting?
Right. You got a chance to speak to him, Bruin Sports Capital CEO, what the opportunity is for schools and athletes, and here's what he had to say.
I think it creates more opportunity, actually, because I think it will, even for the schools, will make more money. You know, a Baker Mayfield shirt right now, but you can't put Mayfield on it. Oklahoma doesn't sell a lot of them. When you put Mayfield on the back, you're going to sell more. So it's going to open up new categories for the school and create new revenue for the players. Where it gets tricky, I think, is the regulation of competition. So take Zion or LeBron, you know, if you could go to Duke and you get a shoe deal for $10 million, you might play at Duke for 4 years. If I'm a car dealer at a big football school, is it an endorsement or is it a recruiting tool? And how do you regulate all that is going to be very difficult.
Wow.
I mean,
it's going to be tough.
Let's be clear. These athletes currently get paid under the table.
Right.
So the biggest athletes, which is all we're talking about anyway,
right,
they already literally get paid cash by boosters to go to certain schools. I'm not saying the value of the education is how they get paid. They literally get paid money. We know this. And the only athletes we're still talking about are the athletes at that level who are going to have any brand value. And so while I think these are steps in the right direction, and a lot of people have celebrated this, and certainly the NCAA is feeling some pressure on this, it doesn't really address the issue that I think people are really talking about when they say why the athletes should be compensated.
Well, yeah, it's a Band-Aid for now, and I'm glad you draw that distinction because it isn't the case that they're going to be paid a stipend to pay. That is a separate debate that has been going on for decades, is should all D1 college athletes get paid for their performance, that is, in addition to just getting tuition. But I will respond to just one thing there, which is I don't necessarily agree that if and when this change takes place, the only athletes you'll see affected are the top 1% cream of the crop, maybe for big deals. But if you're a local small business and you want to sort of gain some credit and you want to look nice and beneficial, you might sign a deal with a lesser known player to be the face of your local car dealership.
But here's the thing, is like, so in my experience as an NCAA athlete, the ways that you are paranoid about getting screwed out of your eligibility for taking a $30 gift certificate or taking a free pair of shoes from the place that you actually work, but if I had accepted them would have made me ineligible, and in some cases you have to prove that you didn't accept them to retain your eligibility. I don't see why that would change, and that's the real problem. The problem is that the NCAA makes life on balance worse for the athletes who become NCAA athletes than students who aren't, basically, right? My life was a lot better when I didn't have to respond to the NCAA.
Although it doesn't address the larger problem fully, you're right, it's something. It's a major, major change. And once it's open season, at least you won't have things like Johnny Manziel getting, steamrolled for signing autographs for a fee. You want to sign autographs? You take a fee.
The schools are also making money
under the new rules.
Student athletes as well.
Well, that's why this is such a massive
that's why
debate.
I'm curious how
That
it's
and
going
coach
to
pay.
disrupt all of that, which is like a lot of big money and big companies. That
I
are
also
part of
think
it
It's not
as well.
going to, that's the thing, though.
Is it just like a finite basket of stuff?
It's not no change. It's a big change.
I know, but what I'm saying is the size of the NCAA relative to its constituents, relative to the athletes in the NCAA, is so large such that the athletes will not get anything unless the NCAA itself is also benefiting, which is why everyone should be very skeptical of this news being pro-athlete, because really I don't see why the NCAA would be inclined to do this unless they felt entrenched their position as more powerful than the athletes.
Incredibly complicated to also be playing on a team
and I would
where
say
one girl
California
is going to get this great deal and you're going to be playing with her. Yeah. There's so many issues in here.
Now, to your point, don't see it as NCAA being pro-athlete all of a sudden. Well, the NCAA didn't want to do this. Mark Emmert said he didn't want to do this, but they have been forced by California.
And let's be clear, they still haven't.
Yes, it is a recommendation.
So,
Dan Roberts, we'll see you on Wi-Fi AM, and we will continue this conversation.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.